Hello and welcome back. If you're just joining us, then this is part 2 of a video where I am drawing out all of the members of the Mighty Nine, or at least was all the members up to a certain point. I'm not going to spoil anything, of course, because I am drawing this in commemoration or celebration or I don't know, just because it's November and Critical Role has launched the Mighty Nine show by now. So we have already drawn Not the Brave and Mollymauk Tea Leaf, or at least as we have gotten them inked, and we have sketches for all the rest of our heroes here. But the way that we decide what I'm going to draw next is over here with our rolling box. Now let me see if this camera is actually working before I go any further. Hold on. Nope, not that one. Aha, that one. Yep, okay, cool. Edit that part out. So I choose, of course, a dice here, and then I have a rolling table, which I totally have pulled up right now. Oh no, I don't have this up either. Edit this out. Put it in time lapse so I have to look stupid. 99, I have it saved here. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, so I have a rolling table, which is up here on the in the post-production somewhere. And what I do is I roll a d20, and based on that number, I draw one of the characters. So I have to roll at this dice here, and let's see what I get. That is a 7, which is 7 to 9. Jester Lavore. I am so excited we get to do this character. I've been waiting on this one. Hold on, let me get some reference up, and we are going to go to the races on this one. Now, obviously, I think it's, if you're familiar with Campaign 2, you have definitely seen Jester before. Jester is such a fun character, and obviously I had a lot of fun drawing her here, and I plan on having even more fun getting her inked and finished here. So let me just quickly find some more reference. I'm so happy that the die there didn't duplicate for me, because that was one thing I was a little bit worried about, was if it does double up, I have to re-roll, and my fear is that I will re-roll the same over and over and over again, as I often do. So let me see here. I need to look up. I have it right here. You know what? Let me just look up Jester Lavore. There we go. Alright, and I'm going to look up her campaign to... I'm sorry if I'm just describing this. I don't really feel comfortable just showing all my references, because I don't want to have to reference every single artist that I have, of whose art that I use for reference. But, alright. Let's go ahead and let's get rid of this mask here. And let's swap the pencils over to blue. There we go. It says it can't save my file, except it totally can. Oh my goodness, we're just having all the issues today. Save. How about now? Okay, cool. Just had to be obstinate. Alright, let me put this all in a folder here. So Jester is actually, it may look like she's a rogue, or I don't know quite exactly what she looks like in this drawing. But she's actually the cleric. And she's of the trickster domain, which is really, really fun to see Laura Bailey just absolutely go to town with. I think it was, this is one of her like best characters I've ever seen her come up with. And I know that there was a lot of love and care put into her, and a lot of just fun that follows this character everywhere she goes, whether at the table or otherwise. So it's if you've watched Campaign 2, you know that for a little bit there, Travis and Laura, minor spoilers, but they were not at the table for a little bit due to some stuff happening at home. They were having a kid, so obviously they kind of had to not be there when the kid was born. And so, but like, you could definitely feel like this huge hole at the table, and that was when things got kind of, or felt darker, at least at the table. And not to say that like things weren't dark otherwise, because with all the political intrigue and all the war and stuff looming on the horizon, Campaign 2 definitely got more into that kind of theme as they went. But honestly, with Jester Lavor's character there, they were always able to kind of see the bright side of things, or at least have, you know, a happy moment with all of the craziness. I still think of like some of the quotes that, you know, Laura said throughout. Like, I'm trying to remember what the scenario was, but basically she was it seemed to be a very serious moment, and one of the characters was like, you know, and what do you want? And the Jester's just, I want to domesticate unicorns. And that's like, I think, one of my favorite quotes. It just pops up in my head every now and then, and I don't know why, but it always makes me laugh. Just the random, chaotic, fun energy of this character is just absolutely amazing, and it's so fun to capture. There we go. I love starting on the hands if I've done them right, because then I don't have to worry about them. I just get the hands done, and then it's like, if they look super expressive and get the job done, then it's like, alright, sweet. It's like, it's not a situation where I need them to be 100% accurate, but it sure as heck helps with, like, if there's a decent amount of realism. Because then, obviously I can use reference to double check myself and make sure that it's giving off the right position of the fingers and stuff like that. But the reason it's important to have these things is, or this level of realism or understanding of the hands, is that you can tell so much by the expression of the hands and the directions that the fingers are going, and how spread out they are, and just in general, I find that, I don't know, like, they're just one of the most expressive parts of the body, other than eyebrows and like the face. And so I've spent quite a bit of time trying to get good at drawing hands, and it still takes a lot of time. And a lot of times, like, even like with this, I was using, like, I've got a hand model over here that I pull out and try to help me understand how exactly the fingers wrap around each other, or how the palm interacts, and there's a lot to consider. So it can be quite daunting and intimidating, but I assure you it is quite worth it. I think Jester's real name is Genevieve. Oops, spoilers. It's not that big of a deal. Just like that, just like popped into my head. I was just like, doesn't she have like a normal name or like a real name? That's what you get when you're hanging around me. I get like random thoughts and I just kind of stew on them for a little while. There we go. So a big important part of this drawing was I did not, like this whole drawing, there is a specific drawing of the Mighty Nine which I love. And it's done by Matteo Scalera, I think. And I'll put it up right now. And I absolutely love this drawing. It's amazing. It's a poster. I want to buy it at some point. But the thing is, as far as composition goes, it's very similar. And there's actually a couple of other drawings I've seen that are very similar, both to this poster and just in general to the composition of which I have chosen to do. So what I am avoiding is making a duplicate. So if you're, you know, in the comments and you're like, oh, well, this just looks like this as you're copying Matteo Scalera, I'm like, yeah, I'm really trying not to. Although I will admit, like, I have it up on my computer and I am looking at it only for reference as far as like what not to do. Because I don't want to accidentally create a pose or a character that looks too similar. Obviously, we're both using the same character, so at some point there's going to be some similarities. Hopefully there's some similarities as far as that goes. But as far as recognizable characters. But when it comes to composition and design, I definitely want to avoid that as much as possible. Although I really should do a master study of that piece and just of Matteo in general, just because he's very, very good art. I keep like flip-flopping back and forth. I'm not sure if it's Matteo, Matteo. I doubt it's that. Watch him hop into the comments and just be like, no, it's Matteo. How dare you insult my name? Either way, it's excellent work. A lot of times if I see an artist that I really, their artwork that I really enjoy, I try to either emulate their stuff in a sketchbook or do some master studies. Something you definitely want to get in the habit of is doing that, because then you can start seeing some of the habits those artists have. Now, you don't want to just completely become a clone of them. You want to pick up the lessons that you can from their artwork and then move on and apply them to your own work. Yeah, I love doing master studies, and I love seeing how different artists interpret things and how different artists create. And that piece in general is and there's 2 or 3 others for the other campaigns. I wonder if we'll do one for 4. That'd be a lot of characters. Yeah, I think it's a fantastic method of learning, and it's something I enjoy, and I should probably demonstrate on the channel at some point. Should probably pull up the reference. All right, so there we go. So we've got this big flowy shirt, and then there's a corset here. There's also this big flowy cape. So how do I want to handle the cape? I think simpler might be better on that one. thinking that might be the case for there. Like so. One thing that's flying around right now is, this is because the show's not out, but one of the things that I've been noticing is people are just like, this is going to be different from the actual play. I'm like, yeah, it's an animated show. You have to make it different. Otherwise, it's going to be like 1 billion hours long. You don't want that, trust me. I've watched all of season of Campaign 2, and yeah, it's awesome. Like, I recommend it to some people, but I don't recommend it for everybody. It's like, trust me, it's like 400 hours. You want them to make some changes. I say that now, and then, like, I'm gonna watch the show, and there's gonna be, like, something that's gonna change. It's not gonna be accurate, and I'm gonna be like, probably not. I'm generally understanding, I feel like. Alright, let's see if we can get this cape up here. Wrapped around appropriately so it makes sense. Switch back over, add a little bit of shadow here. Add another shadow as the belt comes up. So this belt wraps around like so. It's always such a difficult thing to adapt any kind of story from the original medium of which it was created, because a lot of times, like, in the medium that it was created was the way that the story was meant to be told. Like, obviously, like, you can't convert every D&D game into a animated series. It just doesn't work. Especially, like, one of the things that, like, I noticed was, you know, at my table, one of the home games that I've been a part of for a couple of years, like, a lot of the story in the background and the just, I don't know, complexity comes from the way that it's presented on a week to week kind of basis that we had it. And if we just, like, crammed it all into, like, an episode, or even, like, try to stretch it out, or you know, make it a movie or anything like that, or even a comic, it would take so much more explaining and reading and changing. And it's just like, that's, I think, what makes a lot of these games so special is that they are what they are exclusively in the format that they were originally presented in. And I don't think that, like, you know, that means shows that, you know, attempt to adapt that are bad. And I don't think that every D&D game or every D&D story needs to be told in the format of a show or a book or anything. I think there are some that, like, definitely, you know, do a good job doing so, or adapting parts of it, or characters sometimes. But definitely, that's why, like, I feel like a lot of times people are like, oh, we need more Critical Role comics, or we need more, you know, Critical Role shows or stuff like this, or we need more these other, you know, live play shows. We need them to be adapted. Why haven't they done anything? I said, well, it's pretty difficult to do. And even then, like, it's you know, you watch it and they have to change things, or they have to maybe edit how certain events so that it makes more sense, you know, thematically. And it's the same with video games, it's the same with books, it's the same with comics. That's why, like, I'm not a huge fan of, like, this thing that's going around with live action. It's been going on for a while, but live action remakes of animated films. Like, I recently saw some stuff from the How to Train Your Dragon live action remake, which is, you know, ancient history by now. But you know, something I didn't enjoy about it, like I still think it was fine what I saw. Something, however, I just don't think is, there's nothing really gained from having it live action. Especially when like it's already been successfully told, like the story's already been told in animation. And in animation, that story was told so well. So if you were to, you know, make a live action adaptation, well, all you're going to get is trouble, because now, well, how accurate are you going to be, or what's going to change, or who's going to play who? Whereas like when you're doing animation, it's so simple. It's just like, oh, this is a great story. It doesn't matter who's voicing who or what, as long as it's not Chris Pratt or some other stupid celebrity who can't actually voice act. That's another rant of mine. But you know, if you try to take something and put it in another medium, it does not usually transfer very well. That's why I think it's important to, you know, like, what I like about some of the different Batman movies is like each director has a different version of the Batman. Or Spider-Man, same deal. And each generation and each, you know, retelling of the character, it stays the same a little bit, but it also changes. Like if you look at how the Dark Knight trilogy looks as opposed to what you had in the 80s or 90s Batman, which was real good. But you know, one was trying to tell like a comic book movie, and one was definitely just trying to be like a good movie, but more grounded. And so I think it's fair to say that, you know, both may have their merit in their own rings and their own evaluations, and you know, the test of time is definitely a good way to see that. But no, I love seeing those kind of adaptations where it's like I think one of my favorite animated comic movies that came out recently, not recently, this was years ago, there was a Mike Mignola story. It was Gotham by Gaslight, but there was also The Beast That Came to Gotham. Is that The Horror That Came to Gotham? Something. It was the two Mike Mignola stories that he had done for DC way back when, but they were animated. And the cool thing about them was, like, they don't like connect to each other at all, which is great. And it's so Mike Mignola because it's monsters. You know, there's Killer Croc. Okay, he's a monster. It's absolute beast. Huge. No explanation, none needed. He's just it's because it's an Elseworlds story. He can do whatever he wants. The artist and the writer, and that's what was so fun about that. And I think, like, if you have to make an adaptation of a character or a story, do it in an Elseworlds kind of way, where it's like, well, this is what happens if X, Y, and Z. Sometimes that's effective for, like, if you're doing like comic book stories or something like that. Other times there's like, I don't know, I feel like there's just a creativity vacuum in retellings of some stories. So it's kind of depends. Like, some people really like the original Dune. I don't really know why, but to be fair, I haven't really watched all of it either, so what I've seen of it, it's kind of odd, we'll just say. But if you look at like the new Dune with Denis Villeneuve, some people just really love it, and some people really hate it. I'm one of those people that really loves it. I went and saw it in theaters, both parts, and I went with my family, or my siblings, who are my family, but they're happen to be not my entire family there. But yeah, they're just very insanely good movies, and I think it's a difference in directors and a difference in time period there of how these stories are told. Even if it is the same story, both of them had different ways of telling it. And even Frank Herbert, how he wrote Dune, like, would not work well as a movie. But you take two other artists that understand the story and understand the source material and understand how they want to turn that, you know, into a different medium. Sometimes it comes out completely different from the book, and sometimes that's a good thing. Case in point, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? The original Blade Runner book was, in my opinion, an absolute slog and not that good. Now, if you read it, it's very similar to like some of the plot points in the Blade Runner movie, but you know, Philip K. Dick is a very different producer to I believe it's Ridley Scott who did Blade Runner. Blade Runner is one of my favorite movies, and I don't know the director. Now I gotta look it up. Blade Runner director. Ridley Scott. I am right. I do know what I'm talking about. I just doubted myself. So yeah, like, you know, you wanna... I think Ridley Scott made a lot of artistic moves on that movie that changed how Blade Runner was viewed. Obviously, there's like 7 versions of that movie by the time it was finished, but I think it's safe to say that like it was adapted from a book that probably was unadaptable to screen, and now and by the end of it, it was very much a piece of cinema, and in my opinion, a very important piece of cinema and a very good piece of sci-fi. Go back here and catch this before I leave it behind completely. It's a little more, I don't know, bulky than I think I wanted it to be. Well. That is one thing I'll say about inking digitally over inking traditionally. You do get to like turn off your pencils and see stuff a lot earlier. Because for me, like I don't have the option to hide my pencils. I mean, I could erase them, but then I don't have them for later. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and try to slim some of this. Just with shape language. A little bit of line work, but mostly just these shadows I think will help tell us this needs to be a little bit less bulky. I do like how, like, already the shadows are framing gesture quite nicely. So that's a good sign. Means we're on the right path. Casting hand looks okay. Just do a quick double check on some things here. Maybe thicken up this outline a little bit just to give it a little bit more. There we go. There we are. Quick save. Slow save actually, because Clip Studio is not liking the size of this drawing for some reason. Don't know why. I've definitely drawn bigger and haven't had as much problems. Just as I said with the last part of this, shape carving is so important. You gotta remember and think how the shape reads, even without the lines. You can have this big, crazy shape, and it just completely will tell the entire story for you without you having to have all the extra line work and all this extra detail. Having a simple, easy to read design in your shadows just completely saves everything. Saves your wrist for sure, but it also saves you time. And you get that by making sure to pay attention during your penciling stage. Yep. And block out those shapes as you go, so that you can change them in your inking stage, because you know so much better later on. That's something that I found so funny. I will stress so hard in the penciling stage about how I want something to look, and then I will get to the I'll get to the inking stage, and immediately I'll just be like, well, screw all that, I'm doing my own thing. But that's how it works sometimes. Let's go ahead and just block that in. Now I should probably have, yeah, like a diamond shape here for where the stomach is. Like so. And then something like that. Quick little. There we go. Probably stop talking to myself and explain what I'm doing. I'm trying to get the idea of like the relationship to the corset and the belts and the dress all figured out, because they all flow very differently. It's like the belt needs to basically swing from one side of the hip to the other in a wrapping motion, while the dress kind of needs to fold in on itself and concave a little bit, convex a little bit as it goes in and out around the form, and the corset needs to hug the form while also not hide it, but like it's not gonna be as like obvious where everything is underneath the corset as it would be for if it was a different material. So since it's leather, it's going to be rather it's not going to be like sheer or anything. It's going to basically hide a good portion of how the body is underneath of it, while still, because it is quite tight, will also show the form. So I guess what I'm saying is like the details are all different. Alright. So there we go. Something like that. Get the idea across and then come in here. Kind of give the shadow a bit of creep as it rounds the body, giving the idea of the different anatomy and different places that the shadows and the lights are interacting with, while still allowing for some creativity. Not everything has to be 100% realistic. So you see like this cut here where the seam is probably not very realistic, but I think it works pretty well. I think I need to round this out though to get it to match. It looks a lot better when I do that. Well, I think that will work. Alright, some more shadow here. In case you can't tell, I'm filming this at night as kind of an experiment to see if I can film without going too crazy as it gets later and later. I'm not very much of a night person, but I'm also not very much of a morning person per se. But when it comes to recording, I don't like recording in the morning, and I don't like recording in the middle of the day. I think it's just in general, I'm kind of just like been avoiding recording. So I'm kind of trying to force myself into some maybe different recording scenarios to see what's better. So this so far has been working out okay. That doesn't look too bad. Some of the thinking is getting kind of rough though, so I need to be careful with how I erase. Make sure it's not fuzzy, make sure it's nice and smooth. Go ahead and let's add this seam up here to where the corset wraps over the breast and the flowy white shirt begins. I think I don't know if I'm going to need a shadow there or not. I think I'll keep it for now. And do keep in mind that, like, a lot of the anatomy I'm drawing isn't meant to be like 100% realistic. I am making it based off of realism, but in most cases it is also heavily steeped in a sense of comic book realism more than realistic realism. Especially when it comes to poses, because holy mackerel. Some of the poses I'm coming up with, I'm like, ugh. My back hurts just thinking about that. But because it's a comic book, you know, we can, or at least it's based on like comic book styles, you know, kind of we can invent a little bit of how the world works. And, you know, we have an idealized sense of a character. Because that's what they are. They're a character, they're not a real person. So that's what makes it fun and interesting to exaggerate or to idealize, we'll say, certain characters. Alright, let's see how that looks. Well, it's saving, so it's slow. Alright. It's not too bad. Let me compare it to the other two real quickly. Oh, that's looking real fun. That's already looking real fun. So I think the magic's gonna go behind Knott's head there. So I might need to do some clever masking later, but that's okay for now. Make sure that everything has the same amount of shadow on it. I don't want anything to have less shadow, except for the face and the important areas. Emphasizing, of course, where I want the eye to go. It's a big important thing to make sure that you understand where your reader or your viewer's eyes are going to go, and how to make sure that they perceive your artwork. So in this case, like, I want the face to be the most important spot, so there's not really going to be any shading on the face. Also this great big lollipop and such, so. But it is late, so what I'm going to do is, and I don't know why I do this every time, I should just clip it and keep going. Like, you know, hit pause on the drawing and the recording and move on. But I never do. I have to bring it up every time. But I'm going to probably save some of this for tomorrow, and we will finish up Jester Lavore and whoever our other two characters are, because we have a few others to get done. Actually 4. So who's it going to be next? Well, you'll have to wait and see. Let's go ahead and clip this. All right. Pardon me. It's a brand new day, so let's get this started. Well, finish. Whatever. Don't remember where we were, but I'm pretty sure if I just start drawing, nobody will care. I'm finding that a lot of times when I draw hair, it's good to just kind of goodness, one moment. It's good to kind of just like simplify it into basic triangles of various degrees. Like, I mean, you can see all of these are basically triangles, and all of the hair strands I'm drawing are basically triangles, but elongated or squished or whatever. And I'm finding that, like, the more I kind of bunch those triangles together, the better the hair turns out to be in most cases. Now, obviously, there's different hair, and there's different types of hair, and there's different shapes that you can add for hair. But in my experience so far, especially for like female hair, I have found that it's been like rather handy.
wrapping lines here. Make sure these horns make sense. And again, you don't have to have wrapping lines for horns, but you kind of have to change the style of your horn. So like here, it's like a little more like close to goat, I guess, horns, or sheep horns. Sheeps don't have horns. I think it's just goats. Well, no. I think some sheep have horns. Man, I don't know. Pondering the deep questions of life. Either way, it's more of a kind of curled horn, and maybe a ram. And so it's going to have these ridges. And so to help with that, you go ahead and you just kind of add these ridges and these wrapping lines to give the idea of where the horn is going and how it's curling around the head, or in this case all the way around the ear. So here I'm going to add a little bit of shadow just up here, not too much. Ear comes out here, a little bit pointy, a little bit by human standards it's quite pointy in the sense of human ears versus tiefling ears. I don't know what it is, but apparently my voice is just not ready to stream today. It's not not ready to record. It needs to get over it. The rain has just stopped outside. It's been raining all night and most of this morning. And I do believe that we're finally going to get a good bit of fall around here. Here's hoping. Pencils. Let's get rid of a few of these lines here. There we go. Alright. So, Jester's hair is relatively short, but it still has that kind of, I don't know what you would call it in like hairdresser terms, so I'm just going to use like what I think makes sense, but kind of like a bounciness at the bottom, where it's not quite curly, but it does kind of just, I don't know, kind of flow, kind of bounces like it's always in motion, which is a great bit of character design because it really just like tells the story of the character without, it's a great bit of storytelling for the audience. Where we can tell, you know, a little bit about this character right off the bat without having to really wonder too much. And obviously, like, everything about her character is this kind of happy, excited, energetic, chaotic personality. But I think just like at making the hair have this bit of life to it near the end where it just kind of like curls off or it bounces back really gives it like a fun hint and a fun aspect to the character. Change this pen pressure. Yep, okay. Let's add tilt. Still a little bit too big for my taste, but it's fine. I'm still learning how to use the stuff on Clip Studio Paint. Like, I feel like I've got most of the tools down, but I still feel a little in the dark when it comes to the settings and some of the personalizing stuff. I love that. Let me see. It does feel a little restrictive here. Again, I'm treating the blue hair much like how I would treat black hair. A little bit less so, because with black hair I'd probably have a lot more white space, or a lot less white space than what I'm giving this one. This blue hair, as far as my shading goes. I think one of the aspects that I've learned with inking is anytime there's a curve or a change in form, you can go ahead and just like add a dark shape there. There we go. A little bit more. So here at the, I don't know what it's called, but like the base of the hair, where all the hair kind of meets, I usually leave that just completely black, regardless of what color hair I'm inking. I find that's just like, it's better to have that be the darkest part. Turning out, not gonna lie. Might add a little bit more white space here and there. Carve out some more hunks of hair here and there. Hunks. Shapes. Bits. Locks. I don't know. Hunks just sounds kind of wrong. Uh-oh. There we go. Alright. Go. Right. Let's go ahead and let's get this. Yeah, let's do the other horn. I'm a bit nervous about it, but let's go ahead and do it. Symmetry is difficult, especially if it's complicated symmetry. In this case, I have to kind of mimic myself with this horn. So let me rotate this a little bit. And then after we're done with this, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip my canvas because I haven't done that in a little bit, and I really should. I think that's something that I definitely neglected in school, and I should have done a lot more. And I think it really would have saved my bacon a lot more, and a lot of my projects would have turned out a lot better. This side a little bit because I think we've determined that, yeah, the light's coming from this way, so all of this would be in shadow. There we go. Hard to tell. It's a good thing that I chose a character with really simple design. All of these characters just so simple, easy to draw, no biggie. Lies. That is the cool thing about, like, I think Critical Role does a really good job with their character art and who they employ for doing that. Or who they commission, I guess. There's a couple of people that do that. They have a couple of artists on call that are quite good. Go. Let's go ahead and let's get this. Sorry if I'm not as talkative. I don't know why. I think I'm just nervous about this horn. I'm not sure if I can get it quite right. Trying to decide if I did too much there or not. Doesn't look bad. It is just a little bit more that I probably have to add here to even it out. I think I can do that. Yeah, That's not too bad. What was I worried about? Right then, let's do the nose. I think it was just yesterday they finally released on YouTube the rest of the first episode of Campaign 4. It was quite a good rest of the show. I hadn't gotten to see past like the 3-hour mark because I was quite tired and it was quite late. And I'm glad I retired for the night because I found out that there was another like 2 hours. And I was like, no, I wouldn't have been able to make that. I would have fallen asleep in the middle of something important for sure. So, but I did get to watch the rest of it, and I gotta say, like, the rest of the characters are quite interesting, for the most part. There's some that I'm not so sure about. Not really sure what the end game is for some of them, or what the, how they'll play out, but I think that's part of the fun. Especially, like, I mean, you're not gonna like every character. Or the opinions you have of the character at the beginning are probably will change by the end. As more and more is revealed. And then some characters just like right off the bat, like I think Laura Bailey's Thimble is just an amazing. Bit of craft there. I think she's done very well with the design, and then also from what I can tell from the lore so far. So I'm very excited to see how that goes and how it relates with the other characters and the story. Which the story feels very much more to form, I feel like, for Critical Role. It's like a nice return to maybe some of the ways the stories were told back in the day. I say back in the day, I haven't been around I haven't watched Critical Role that long. So I can't claim to have any special relationship with their old stories, but I just know that, like, when I remember how I felt watching the second campaign, and how I didn't really feel the same way with Campaign 3. I won't say I disliked Campaign 3, I'll just say that from what I've seen of it and what I've watched of it, it hasn't really compelled me to finish it, per se. And that's not because I don't think it's bad, I just don't think it's necessarily for me. Although I will say that some of the characters are kind of interesting, so I might pick it up. There's some events and such in there that I feel like I kind of need to get caught up on. Oh wait, if the sun's coming from this direction, then the shadow will be over on this side. Oops. With female faces, I like to think of triangles. Like long and slender triangles for the shading and for like the face and the eyelashes. Like everything needs to be like very delicate. And I feel like that's an important factor when working with female faces. So when working with guys, and more masculine faces, what you want to do is kind of think more along the lines of like boxy shapes. You can still have triangles in guys' faces. And what I mean by that is just like, okay, so like this eyelash here is going to be kind of like a triangle. And this shade here, this shadow that shows where her head turns, the skull, is going to also be a bit of a triangle. The eyelash is a bit of a triangle right here. I also round off a lot of shapes, so with female characters, because I feel like it's a good way to show off the feminine form rather than boxing and squaring everything off. And that goes without saying for, regardless of if you're drawing like a very strong character or a very more feminine character. Let me rephrase that. I just realized I dropped into a very big hole. So, generally speaking, when working with shape design, larger blocky shapes are more masculine, and softer, more slender shapes are more feminine. That's not to say that if you have a character that is made of slender shapes that they're not also strong. A good case for that would be like Mulan, where they did a good job balancing those aspects of her softer femininity with her stronger aspects. And I think that one of the messages from that movie is that even though she is female, she has her own strength, and it's different from the strength of, her male counterparts. I think you can put that in the same category with when you're drawing female characters. You don't have to have like these big boxy shaped women to show that they're strong. Now, sometimes if they're like gigantic bodybuilders or super roided up or something like that, then yeah, maybe that's something that you can consider. But even then, I would still challenge that a little bit and try to add some more of the softer feminine aspects just to help with some of the storytelling and with some of the character design. I think a lot of times we get lost in this idea that, oh, we need to have strong, powerful women, so therefore like no curvy shapes or no slender shapes, nothing delicate. It all has to be very hard shapes. I don't think that's the case, and I think I've gone over this on a couple other videos, so I don't mean to go over it again. But one of the things that I've noticed is if you kind of make male characters and female characters look too similar, you kind of begin to lose like the unique aspects of each of those characters. And for me, when I was learning to design characters and learning to draw characters, you always wanted to make very beautiful female characters and very attractive female characters, but while still retaining aspects of character. So just because they're beautiful doesn't mean that they're not strong and independent and all that, but also very capable in different ways maybe than male characters are. Same deal with male characters versus female characters. Like one of my favorite ways of describing or drawing out female characters is very, very lithe and with nubile muscles that are more almost like a dancer's or like a gymnast. You can't quite accomplish the same kind of grace and beauty with male characters. For example, I mean, just look at like Spider-Man versus like Spider-Gwen. It's like both of them probably have they do. They have exactly the same, you know, power set, but one looks very different from the other in how they move, and that's because they've left that aspect of femininity for one, whereas the other is a little bit different shaped and therefore different abled, and that's just that's the reality of character design. And I don't think it's sexist or racist or whatever, ist or phobe or you want to add there to have those kind of characters and to design those kind of characters, and to embrace the beauty of all aspects of characters. Probably gonna get some nasty comments now, but that's how I learned, and that's how I was taught, and that's how I've been able to work successfully so far. I need a good reference, because I haven't looked at one for a little while, and I just realized that might be a problem. It's always good to have reference. So let me just pull up some artwork here to have to look at while I'm working. And to further beat a dead horse, we'll be able to see, like, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about as we get to, like, the other characters, either in this video or maybe the next part, with Yasha's character and Bo's character. Like, both of them all have different body types, but they still retain, I think, a bit of femininity regardless of their role. It's like one's a monk, very maneuverable, very agile, and one's a barbarian, and then we have Jester, who's a cleric. So all of them, I feel like, still do have that aspect about them. Their class or their role, or even their characteristics don't erase the fact of their gender. As soon as you erase that, you lose so much of the aspects that you can play and show from these characters. Again, I put the shadow on the wrong side. Good job. Yeah, I'm gonna have to flip this face sooner or later. Especially with this nose, I think is jaked. Because I started with it. And now that I've done everything else on this face, it's gonna be quite wrong. I just have a feeling. go. I think I like it a little bit more. I think I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit. Time for the trial by fire. Let's see how much I hate this. Flip canvas, horizontal. Give it a bit to load. While it's loading, let me look up some more reference or different reference because that's not quite helping me. I need some inking reference. Alright. It's a little off. It's not as off as I thought it would be. Already I can tell that this shape is a little bit inaccurate. Thankfully we've got shadows we can play with. Do a little bit of warping here. It's very important to flip your canvas. It's very important to see all the things that maybe you've forgotten, all the things that maybe you missed or maybe you just didn't know about or didn't think about the first time. No matter how thorough you are, there's always going to be something that's been missed. So it's always a good idea to go ahead and get that done and not regret, you know, looking back and seeing something that should have been taken care of that wasn't, or finding out something's inaccurate, or I think it gives a good perspective because it does help you see things kind of from the perspective of the viewer, or at least was in a new light that maybe the viewer is seeing and you aren't. You do the same thing with traditional art. You just have to find a mirror or something to reflect the artwork back at you in the reverse so that you can see where you maybe neglected some aspects. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, you know, you have to learn to take correction and learn to take some self-critique there. It's such a difficult balance when the character has fangs and horns and such to make them look non-threatening, or at least friendly. I think here, this might help. If I do something like this. still seem to be a little off. I think the eyes are just like so ever so slightly off, and it's starting to bug me a little bit here. Playing with the size of this nose, there's a good balance between it being too small and a small kind of petite cute nose. But you kind of have to hit that stride just right. Otherwise the character just doesn't have a nose. And that's not very cute. I say that, and there's a lot of characters without noses that are quite successfully designed, I'd say, but at the same time, for me in this comic book style, I think I need to have a nose. At the very least. Here, do something like that, maybe add like a I'm fussing over it at this point. Let's check if everything else looks fine. A little bit less darkness on this one. This side of the drawing, I should say. Alright, let's go ahead and let's flip the canvas back. And wait for it to load. Live, laugh, love that. Alright. I think pretty happy with the face, and I think I'll leave it alone for a little while. Might get this neck here. And then let's go ahead and let's do I want to do the dress or the lollipop? Let's do this big, stupid lollipop. It's only stupid because it's going to be difficult to get this ellipse in a way that I'll be happy. Thankfully, I have tools for this. We have ways for making you talk. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Ish. As perfect as it's gonna get. Alright, let's go ahead, let's selected and then erase whatever it is inside here. I can already tell there's a big difference. Apparently the pencil work and the line work has shifted a little bit. That's okay. The thing to remind yourself of constantly when it comes to working with inking of any kind, digital or otherwise, your pencils are only gonna be so good. Like, they might be something that like you really, really enjoy. Like, you think that, oh, this is it. This is right here, you know. If I ink this, it's only gonna ruin it. And, you know, you might be right in the sense that, like, the pencils are good and they probably won't be 100% the same as when you ink them. But do keep in mind that there is a bit of magic that comes with ink and a bit of beauty that can only be attained with inking. And penciling can do great things, but it doesn't have the longevity, it doesn't have the, I think, the boldness and the statement that inking has. So, you know, you kind of have to accept the process and roll with it as much as you can, even if it is a little bit difficult to see your precious pencils go away. And that's why I often suggest keeping a copy, whether you scan that in or whether you take a picture or something. Find a way to keep that without completely, you know, just resigning yourself to never ink. And there's plenty of reasons to not do inking or to claim that you're bad at inking, but I don't think that there's any good reason to hold yourself back or to keep your artwork from being everything that it can be. I mean, for me, it's like I feel the same way about coloring. It's like I don't want to color most of my work because I feel like it looks better just black and white. And I did for a really long time. I didn't add any color. And I have learned that by doing that, I severely hampered myself. And a lot of my artwork could have been a lot better had I just let it be colored and learned how to accept that bit of fear that I have and that, you know, the stress that I have that, oh man, it's not going to be as good. And learn that, you know, it all comes with the process, it all comes with the learning curve. Even if I think that, you know, I'll never, you know, especially if I'm doing traditional art, I'll never be able to get that back. It's okay. If you did it once, you can definitely do it again. It just takes practice and time. And that's like something that like everybody hates to hear. It's just, it's gonna take more. It's gonna take more time. It's gonna take more practice. It's gonna take, but you know, that's a lot of good things are in life. Wow, I kind of hate this. I don't really like how this is turning out, and I don't know what I've done to ruin it for myself, but I really have. So I'm gonna start over. Alright, here's an idea. I think I'm gonna make an ellipse. And then I'm gonna draw the spiral in the ellipse. It's a big old lollipop. Alright, and then we're gonna go in with our second spiral here, following the other one. It's okay if it gets a little gnarly. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we want to be as close as we can. Alright. There we go. Don't know that I like it. I think I need less spirals. I think just 3. So 1, 2, and there's a 3. One, 2, 3. It's not quite there yet. Let me look up an actual lollipop. Like a big lollipop. Yeah, there we go. Oh, well, it's rounded, isn't it? That's interesting. Something kind of like that. Don't really love how that's looking just in general. What if I went over it with just the brush? Thickened it that way. Love how the candy has just become the hardest part of this drawing. Big stupid lollipop. For those of you who don't know, Jester wields a large spiritual weapon sometimes, and it takes the form of a massive lollipop, and it's quite funny to see and how they do it in the how it's implemented and used in the show and in the actual play. I don't know about the show. The show's not out. Not right now. Not for me. We're still applying that. There we go. Let me just throw a mask on this. I'm not gonna delete it. Not yet. But just to make sure that I don't accidentally draw through the shape too much. Alright, here we go. Throw pencils. And now I'm just gonna throw a shtick from the fist that I haven't drawn yet all the way up there. I'm sure that won't bite me later. That wouldn't happen. Why would that happen? Why would it be bad if I've drawn the stick and the lollipop before I drew the thing that was holding it? Go ahead,
so. Nice. Very nice. We want this thing to look as smooth as possible. It's just, you know, it's a lollipop. It's got to be smooth. It's got to look tasty. It's got to look, you know, delightful. We don't want it to be like, you know, rigid or too terribly, you know, pointed or angled. Help with the shape design, but then also just like the general story design. Story design. The storytelling aspect of it. Although I do kind of like how like that looked like it was coming off of it, like it's a spiritual weapon, so it doesn't have to be 100%. You could just have like these glowing shards coming off of it. It's kind of a neat idea. Generally, when you have magic wrapping around something, you want like the curve to kind of make sense that it's wrapping around, even though it's magic and it shouldn't have to follow the rules of like most things. It's still, there's still some like logic to it, even though, again, it's magic, doesn't exist. There's no like template for it or no reference for it that we can see in real life, but still, even so, our human brains have to have something, or has to have certain cues to have us believe. In what we're seeing and how it's being presented to us. I think there's a whole chapter about that in Understanding Comics by Scott McCloud, which is a book I'm working my way through kind of slowly because I'm enjoying it, but I think I'm taking my time just to kind of like understand exactly all the concepts he's getting at. So I kind of read and then I take a while to think about it and then I read some more. Go. I think it should be a little bit bigger. Should it? I don't know. It's hard to say. I've also got to think of the coloring stage while I'm doing this, so I don't want to add too much ink. If you add too much ink, then suddenly it gets very difficult to add, you know, like, probably this is going to be a pink lollipop, so I need there to be pink in this, so probably the swirl's going to be, like, on the outside here, or maybe following this swirl rather than necessarily being the swirl that I've made there. I don't know. I'm still in the process of figuring it out in my head. Need to get that pencils back on track, or the inks back on track. I don't know what I've done here exactly to
move all of this over, but I need to move it back. I'm not sure what's going on there. Huh. Interesting. Very interesting. I'll put it right here. And we'll see what I think later. Oh, I might have flip-flopped it. I don't know. I'm not sure what I did. I think just hide this and then go over it to make sure that I don't have any overlap. Interferes with my silhouette. I'm kind of glad that it's over there because it'll interfere with the silhouette a lot less. Make sure that the areas where there's nothing are selected. It takes a while to get like this fast with the lasso tool, so don't feel bad like if you're trying to follow along or copy what I do. I do kind of have 1 or 2 dozen years of experience. There we go. Let's go ahead and let's finish up this bit here. I keep saying let's finish this. It's, you know, I'm doing my best, but it is still gonna take time. I've got 2 more to do. This is going to be a long video. I just need to draw this up here to remind myself which way the sun is shining, which way the light source is coming. And each of the characters that I've done so far, the light is kind of coming from a different source, but it's not all super willy-nilly. Still don't know if I like the lollipop or not. I know I don't want this here anymore. Doesn't look good. So that's gone. Got a little bit of a tangent here with the ear. That's also not great. Oh, and I drew it all in the wrong layer. Alright, well, in that case... get this arm in there. So let's go ahead and let's pull up the pencils by hitting the right layer. So much of Jester's design is just straight up these loose shapes and these, like, I don't know, just very, very free and free-spirited. Articles of clothing or expressive bits. So the way that the sleeves are here, the way that I'm trying to draw them is, I want them to obviously still show what they're wrapping around an arm and whatever, but they are quite loose and quite, I don't know, bouncy. And so I kind of having fun just kind of loosely wrapping them around whatever here and there as I work, while also making sure that I keep the spirit of the character with making sure that all the movement and the shadows are accurate, while showing off how the mood of the character. I love how I restated that, but in the exact same, using pretty much the exact same words. Losing my touch. I try so hard, I get so far, but in the end, it does not matter that much. It's really good to see Mike Shinoda making music again. With the reform kind of reboot of Linkin Park. Don't know how I feel about the vocalist. I don't care that she's a she. It's more just like, I don't know if it's quite the same. And I don't expect it to be the same. It probably shouldn't be the same, because nothing could be the same without the lead singer. But I don't know if it's the same style that I'm used to hearing from the band in a way that reads as Linkin Park and not another band, if that makes sense. But in the end, I think they're doing pretty well. In the end, keep everything inside. Dude, I can't even tell you, like, how much Linkin Park I was listening to back in the day. That was my jams. As a child of the 2000s, that's what you gotta realize. I was very, very big into that. That was, all the rage, and I was totally for it. One thing that you don't want to do when you're adding like these kind of shapes is you don't want to give off the idea that it's reflective material, or at least wise in this case. If it is reflective material, then go for it. Add a lot of these kind of black shapes and such. If it's not, though, you kind of want to be a little more choosy about where and how you make your marks. Because otherwise it's just going to be like way too shadowy and way too it's going to look more reflective and like a different material. So like here down on the corset, like a lot of this is like, I want it to be reflective because it's leather. It's not like,
Like if I was drawing Catwoman, it's not like that level of reflective because it's not a black bodysuit, but at the same time, it is still a different material than like this cloth up here. And the my idea is to try to keep it like a matte finish while still being shaded and the form shown on it. So that's the balance I have to strike. Yeah. And now these are fingerless gloves again. Seem to be a thing for this team. I don't know why. Like in the artwork, I just kept seeing like fingerless gloves everywhere, and I don't know why. I don't have a problem with it. It's just kind of like funny to me that like I don't think any of them have the tips of their fingers covered. Not sure exactly if that was a stylistic choice or like a inside joke or something, or just like kind of a coincidence. This down a little bit right there. That's good. Uncheck that so that it keeps the mask there instead of moving it. Give it a little bit of an angle, like so, I think. Oh, good. And then I can go ahead and the rest of these fingers in here. So they're just kind of nubs because they're holding the major heft of this lollipop. It's just so absurd, but you know what? That's how it goes sometimes. That looks okay. I need this right here, though, to get a bit bigger. Yes. Perfect.
that gonna like, that's probably gonna like throw off the whole composition if I do that. No, not so much. It's okay. It's just this big, huge shape in the middle of my drawing. It's fine. I should put something here though to try to balance it or lower her a little bit. Let's see if I can do that. Like, is that like, well, first things first, I should check that there and then lower it down. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I might just put some more flames. Because it is a little bit heavy on this side, but then again, it's all good. It's fine. I'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. It'll all work out in the end. It always does. Sometimes you just have to give yourself a little bit more grace than you expected because you're gonna be doing a lot of drawing. Alright, let's see. I gotta do this dress. So much drawing with this one. I just don't know what to make of it. Sometimes I'm all like, yeah, I love it. And then other times I'm like, you could kill me and I'd be happy. It's my New England, probably New Jersey grandma. I don't have one from New Jersey, but my roommate had apparently an aunt who sounded exactly like that, so I wasn't allowed to like use that voice because like he kind of like was just like, that's a little too freaky for me. It's like, why won't you let me talk to you? You never let me talk to you no more. You're always too busy with your art degree. And he's just like, please stop it. So that one had to take a bit of a hiatus for a little while. It was kind of sad because I was really starting to enjoy it. But he's not here now, so I can do whatever I want. There we go. We gotta get this weird pinafore thing. I don't know what it is. To be completely honest, I don't know what you would call it. It's like a thing above the skirt. Looks like it's like a, I don't know. Like half of a skirt over another skirt? What is this? What would you call that? I need to ask the seamstresses of YouTube to help me out here, because I can't figure it out. I don't think I've gone full. I don't know if I can talk like that and consider it being a chill, relaxing video if I do that. I don't know if that's like, I haven't gone full voice for like a whole video. I don't think I can. I've definitely done it before in my own time, but it's something that I hesitate to do because I know it can get annoying very, very fast. I want to so bad though. There we go. There we go. And then this. Add a little bit of texture there. Okay. I think I like that. Yeah, let's go ahead and just kill those around like that. The thing about working with tails like this, where they're kind of long cylinders that begin to taper at the end, you really want to keep your line consistent. So let me swap over to a turnip pen. Is it really a turnip pen? Apparently it is. What it has to do with turnips, I have no idea, but it works real good. Yeah. Make sure to up the taper a little bit here as we go. And I think I'm gonna move this up a little bit from here. So maybe make it a little bit bigger. Right there-ish. I think that'll work. Just go ahead and erase this, get that back. That's a lot better. Although this needs to go down now so I don't have a tangent. There we go. That's a good bit of overlapping. Let's show all the different layers this character has. There we go. That's not too bad. Just kind of peel away some of these layers here, just so that I don't have to worry about the thickness being mistranslated. Art is just a language. The thing is, it's different with each and every person that uses it. And I think that the way that we reach people and the way that we communicate with people is by making sure that our art communicates clearly to the audience that we want it to reach. I don't think a lot of modern art does that very well. I don't think a lot of contemporary art we've been seeing where you duct tape a banana onto a wall and call that art does that job very well at all.
I think it comes down to understanding humans and the human experience, and understanding actual things that people enjoy and think about and deal with in their everyday lives. Not something that some, hoity-toity collector or appraiser is going to, slap onto your, ready-made, avant-garde kind of piece. I think that having a language that is easy to understand, and having a language that is not devoid of complexities or maybe difficult subject matter, but of one that has a soul, that's a human soul, and not, based in greed or in superiority or in that evil spirit, or a mean spirit, I should say. That's what's going to communicate, I think, a lot more than some of the things we've been seeing recently, and some of the things that I've been a little disheartened to see be considered artwork or be considered finer art than some of the things that I would consider are still timeless classics, because of the language that the artist has chosen to convey their message and convey their thoughts. Because you can have, all the money in the world trading art and moving it about and the hobnob of society, but you can't reach somebody that just walks along while you're not there and looks at your work. And that's really a shame, because now you've classed out your work to a bunch of people that only know how to appreciate art with wallets, and not with their soul, and not with their hearts. So, anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. So it's also why I think a lot of times nowadays illustration and children's book artwork and comic books beats a lot of what we're seeing elsewhere, because you have to communicate. You have to make sure that the child understands, well, 1 + 1 is 2, or sharing is good, or Clifford the Big Red Dog went to school. You have to show those things. You don't necessarily have to do that in modern art today. And I'm not completely bashing Impressionism or everything that's avant-garde, although I would be lying if I said I didn't have my opinions. But, yeah, I do think it's a shame that so many artists have decided that their language and their art and their message is only for the rich few that will pay for something that they hope will appreciate and value, or make them look refined, rather than communicate something that we can all appreciate and we can all understand, or maybe even think about longer than the time it takes to walk past the exhibits. So there you go. So all that to say, I'm hoping that the language of shapes and the language of expression and the language of lighting and shadow and everything that I'm using here will communicate exactly how I want it to the people that I want it to communicate to, which is you, the viewer.
I don't know, I don't know how fine of an art you could call this. But I feel like every piece has something to say. If not about, you know, politics or whatever, but maybe just beauty. Or tell a story about what you, the artist, likes, so, you know. Uh-oh. Oh no, I've done it again. No! No! Go back! Okay, good. I saved it. I hit the paint bucket tool and it was about to completely douse the entire piece in inky darkness of which there would be no saving it. That doesn't happen in traditional art, right? You never accidentally, you know, hit something and it becomes a part of the piece in a way that you wouldn't want it to. You wouldn't, like, you know, knock a bunch of ink over and send it all into your artwork. No, that doesn't happen. It's totally not a thing. That's just a digital thing. I love how, like, there's definitely an option in this fantasy world for pants, and, like, Jester's character is just like, nope, fun dress, wanna wear it, gonna wear it. Yeah, right on. I think that's such a fun thing for the character to just be like, why wouldn't I wear a pretty dress? I want to. Going out to fight dragons, you know, saving the world, and I'm gonna do it in a dress that I like. Such like a, I don't know, because like for me, like practicality would be like, well, no, you want to wear, you know, you know, if you, at the very least, like breeches or some form of protection for your legs and all that. And nope, not the case here. I think it's a fun bit of character design there. Fun bit of just character work there as well. On the part of Lara Bailey.
Alright, I think we could do a bit without our pencil mark here. We could just kind of add some. So much life and movement in this piece, especially compared to, like, I feel like the Mollymauk one is a lot more like kind of heroic posy, whereas this one is just like very much like just out and spread out and more excited. Not that Mollymauk's character isn't that. I think it's just like, in this case, it's a lot more. There we go. Let me see if I can extend this just a wee bit more. There we go. I will say this, one thing that's nice about working in Clip Studio Paint as opposed to Photoshop is like the fact that there's not like a little tab always being like, hey, do you want me to generate something? Do you want me to generate something? Hey, I noticed that like you're drawing, can I? I'm just like, no. I don't need your help. I don't want your help. Go away. Like I understand, like in some cases it is handy. However, most of the time when I'm painting, the last thing I need to think about is AI trying to help me. Because it doesn't, like, you know, I think that's the biggest thing that's like really started to actually get on my nerves about AI, because up till now I've been like, well, you know, tried to stay neutral. However, I am neutral, or at least open-minded. Like, I'm not big into like the witch hunts that people have for like every time somebody uses AI, but at the same time, I think, you know, artists should be getting paid and not computers. And the amount of energy that they're using is insane. Especially when it's like it's gonna cost us and not them, but you know. One of the things that is rather annoying is how it's really affected the search for reference images, and how annoyingly difficult it is to find something that is actually a photo. Because it's like I'll be looking for something and it'll be like, oh, I've got just what you want, and I'll think, oh yeah, good, great, and then I'll start working on it, and then like I'll look at it, like I'll take a double take and I'll be like, oh, I've got to start all over, and I got to find, you know, an actual reference and not some sort of slop that was coughed up for somebody's slideshow one day, you know. And it's getting worse with like the billboards and stuff you see around and on all of that. It's just like they look so cheap and so just fake and not non-genuine. And I understand why a lot of people are using it, in the sense of like it is cheaper, but it does show that it's cheaper. It's like when I would do graphic design quotes for people, and they'd be like, oh man, I've got a brother that could do it cheaper, and I'm like, yeah, you could, and it'll look like it. And I would straight up tell them, I'm just like, well, let me put it this way, I've got 3 degrees, I've got years and years of experience, and I am, you know, recognized by all these companies and all these different, you know, achievements that I have. So you could have that, or you can have, you know, your brother who, you know, watched a video on YouTube one day and graphic design is his passion. Do whatever you want to do. But usually I would get the job just because I was obviously better than what they could get for free or for cheap. But that was something that was just like, it kept coming up over and over again. Oh, this can be done cheaper. It really could, and it would look like it. Alright, I think, let me look at the composition here. I think I'm gonna, is there a bit of drawing that I missed here? Hold on. Oh, I think that's the mask. Okay. There we go. Put some around there. A little bit bigger. Okay, and then I don't think that the boots are going to show, are they? I might need to keep drawing this one and maybe that one. For Mollymock, it's like one boot's going off screen and the other one's going to go right behind Bo, so there's no real point to keep drawing the boots. But here I'm seeing I might need to extend this just a wee bit here. Just so that it's hidden by these two fellas, and then I might need a bit of boot here, which I think I'm just going to black out for the purposes of this. That's not too bad. Alright. Remove the knee here. And just scoot up the boot. Because I think that makes, yeah, that makes more sense. That makes more sense, because her leg would be like here-ish, I think. Yeah. Either way, I'm pretty sure this is... Well, nope, there's that pink magic I gotta do. Never mind. Do a quick little bit of magic using the tapered pen or the turnip pen, whatever. Just so I can get a little bit more here. Here. Let me see, not just so I'm not like completely causing some snafus in the way of compositional elements. Alright, sweet. So let's select with the magic ruler here. Not ruler, magic, whatever, selection tool. Let's go over here. What did we do? What happened? Undo that. There we go. And that's gesture. Jester, not gesture. Yeah, I like that a lot. So let's go ahead and see that with Molly and not. I think I'm gonna put not in front of that, so let's go ahead and let's select. Actually, let's go ahead and let's select with the
turn this into an editing or reference layer. Well, if it ever selects. There we go. Just make sure that looks right. Alright. I. And then I think I can just hold on. Hold on a minute. And it's sort of selected, just not accurately. Okay, that's fine. This is the brush I wanted. There we go. Close enough. Select that, and then that can be the mask. Then I can go to mouse layer, I can hide that, and then we're good. Yay. Alright, so that's 2 tieflings and 1 goblin down. Now I've got to do the next one. Which one are we going to do? Let me get the table up, and I think I'll draw this one after a break. But let's go ahead and let's get our next roll. Now I really want this one to roll forward, because it's got the creepy eye in it. I don't know if you can see that. It's all nautical looking. And if I want to get forward, it has to be a 1 to 3, so it has to be a really crappy roll. So let's see if I can roll really crappy. It has to be 1 to 3. Oh, it's a 15. That's Yasha. Which is fine. It's fine. Oh, I kind of... Hold on, let me roll again. Nope. Alright, it's fine. Never mind. Doing Yasha. So that's 15 on the die. I'm going to do Yasha, which is actually going to finish up our top row for this drawing. But let me do a quick little break here, and I'll be right on back.
So you remember how I said I was going to come right back and do this? Yeah, that was a lie. My schedule has shifted a little bit, so it's difficult to fully figure out when I'm doing what. But I'm going to do my best to try to get this done in a good fashion. And I can only spend so long on it right now just because it is night and I am tired. But that's never stopped me from working before. I mean, it has, but we'll try to get some quality work. And I think for this I am going to do a bit of cheating. So permit me quick use of the symmetry ruler. Now I'm only going to use it for one area here, and that's just because I think aesthetically it looks better if I've got this exactly symmetrical rather than you know, kind of trying to freehand it. So what I'm gonna do here is try to get this these wings, and these I decided to be the necrotic kind of angel wings that are more corrupted and fallen rather than the wings. Well, I guess that's a spoiler, so I won't go into that, but you get the idea. And I'm also gonna try to just do like the wings as they are rather than just everything on them. So like the shadows and stuff will mostly be done by hand. Like I'll go back over it, and then I think I will try to do the kind of tatters here also as a thing that I do freehand rather than completely symmetrical. Although they are spectral wings, so, you know, and, you know, it is magic, so some things aren't going to be exactly symmetrical. But when it comes to, like, certain areas of the body, they are, like, bilaterally symmetrical. Meaning, like, they're completely the same on both sides. So there's no real reason, in this case, to keep them you know, dissimilar, I guess. Because, like, naturalistically, like, you wouldn't use the symmetry tool when you're drawing a character, especially not their face or anything, because then they really just look stiff. But in this case, I think it does kind of help with the idea of the composition, and then also the I think the kind of aura, or the vibe that I'm going for here. I don't know what aura means anymore. I'm sure it's something just wonderful that the youths have come up with, but as far as the vibe goes, I want to try to get this across. These bony, skeletal, dark, spooky wings. Which, when you're watching this, it'll be November, but while I'm drawing it, it is still spooky season. So this is perfect. I never really grew up, like, celebrating Halloween that much. And, I still really haven't. I did a lot more in college just because, like, it was the thing to do. Like, anytime there was, like, an excuse to hang out or party or whatever. But, I think, for the most part, like, I've kind of come up with my own traditions now. Like, I've got a list right now of, like, 31 movies I gotta watch. And the idea was I was going to watch them throughout spooky season, like one a night or one a day. And because I have the worst, like, I don't know, like, planning skills for, like, fun things for myself. Like, anything that's, like, not work, I just fail at planning. And fail at, like, following through. So, I've only watched 3. I watched Coraline, so there's 3 out of the 31, and it's, at time of recording, it's about, I think, I could say it's the 8th. So, yeah. It's not great there. Well, I'll get there. I don't think it's going to be too much longer, and I'll have, like, a large chunk of time, or more projects that, like, I don't have to talk through while I work on them, so I'll be able to maybe watch more spooky, because usually while I'm working I have, like, a movie playing. However, I can't quite do that with you all here, because that would make me kind of a bad host. As well, as fun as it is to have a movie going on in the background, I can't quite have that on a YouTube video. I think it was my Inktober video, which I don't know how I'm going to release, but I might as well say it here. I kind of apologize for, because I had grand plans for that, and they all kind of fell through because I had a massive just round of complete
I don't know, failure to deliver as far as my editing. I just completely lost interest and just got I can't even think of the word right now. Burnout. And I wasn't able to really get that to the way that I wanted to, so I apologize if you were looking forward to a big ol' Inktober vid. But that didn't happen. But anyway, I think during that recording I was watching Halloween on the big TV, and I've got a TV right behind like my work area, which I usually don't view too much on just because I'm working. I usually use it just for gaming, but it is quite nice for watching spooky movies with friends. I didn't have any friends over, so because I'm a loser, and so I was drawing this one section of the large piece I did for Inktober, and I forgot that the audio was being recorded. So there's the second half of Halloween in the audio files for that, so that's why like I just kind of muted it and didn't have audio for that. Which it was a section of the video that was rather dull anyway, so I didn't think it needed to be recorded, because I was just moving the paper around a lot, and I think it would have been grating on the ears. Whereas like the rest of it, I tried to make it like ASMR-ish, or at least like kind of satisfying to listen to. Which hopefully it did. Hopefully it's out by now. If it's not, then something terribly wrong has gone down. And I don't know. I'm kind of tired of it already at this current juncture. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's get these kind of veiny scraps of wings. Because Yasha here is a fallen Aasimar and a barbarian, and she has these spectral wings that show up, and I think it's when she rages. It's been a while since I've watched it's been a while since I've watched the campaign, so that's funny because like they make that joke so much. I actually like have heard that song quite a bit before I watched it, so when they were making jokes about it, I'm like, they're not talking about this song, right? And they're like, no, that's the song. So it's really funny. I don't really know how they're gonna run with Yasha's story, because I know like she was in and out a lot because of a recording schedule that Ashley Johnson was working with during a large portion of the second campaign. I do think her character is interesting. I think she's got a lot to offer the series, but I am kind of wondering how they're planning on tying her into a lot of the different sections of the story that she's not really a part of. Like there's some serious arcs that go down where Yasha is not around,
So I don't know what they're gonna do there, or how they're gonna do that, accomplish all that. But I have faith that they'll figure it out. They are, after all, pretty good storytellers. They're pretty good. There we go. Those look pretty gnarly. Alright. So now what we're going to do is on a separate layer, let me lock that layer so I don't actually draw on it. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to kind of have a vignette as Knot is kind of here and the others are around. I don't want them to really... I don't feel the need to draw the legs all the way down, so what I'm going to do just cinematically is, because I think it'd kind of be awkward if that was the case, so I think what I'm going to do is just kind of like a light vignette, but instead of like using a light you know, painterly brush or something like that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to accomplish that by keeping the line work but not doing as much shading on the lower body. So like we'll have maybe the shading stop around here or so, or maybe just get less. Either way, I will admit, like for this one, like I went very much more on the side of the Amazon show than I did for maybe the rest as far as the designs go. And that's just because like the first like iteration of Yasha in the her character art is like insane. Like there's like a lot of dreads and flowing bits of her outfit and such that are just like very, very complicated. I didn't really want to spend like forever trying to get all of that in here. Like there's just braids and belts and all that, and I'm sure the animation team looked at that and like took one glance at it and was just like, nope, ain't happening. To which I say, yeah, I totally get that. I feel like these are a lot more rough than I want them to be. These meaning like the pencils. So I'm gonna try to get some better shapes in here if I can. I'm looking at the character art, just kind of picking and choosing bits that I feel like help tell the character story or help give like some visual noise to the character without making the character too noisy. And of course by visual noise I mean like the details and the elements of the design that make certain areas of the drawing seem more busy and more cluttered or more detail driven than maybe others. And there's a kind of a balance you have to strike with that as you draw more and more characters in your scene or in your composition, especially if you have like more than like 3 or 4 characters. It's like at that point you need to start evaluating just, you know, what you're keeping and what you're not as far as details, or it'll just get absolutely muddled and completely unreadable. But then also for this, I'm just like, the style that I'm working in, I feel like is a lot more simple than what the official character art is, so I don't want to have one really, really complicated character and then have other characters not get as much work. I want to try to keep it as even as possible. Not just because I don't want to play favorites, but also just because I want to make sure that they all seem cohesively part of one team. That's really important, that they aren't all just like thrown together willy-nilly. So I'm just going back and forth from the design from Amazon and the design that from the original character art. Trying to work my way up and kind of keep the shadows and details light near the bottom, about from the knees, and then I'll probably beef up the shadows and the effects as we go up. Alright, for the light on this one, I think we're gonna go kind of like maybe straight on and above. So yeah, I guess this makes sense. I don't know how much the microphone's picking up on when I do a bunch of undos, like Control-Z, Control-Z, Control-Z. I don't know if like it's picking up on that or not. If it is, I'm sure it's very frustrating for some people. Like, stop it! Ooh, I like that. Where's that been? Not bad at all. This fur is gonna kill me. This fur is actually gonna kill me. I'm just looking at it and realizing that it's like, if it's giving me this much trouble right now, imagine like all the rest of the fur that I've got to do. There's so much fur on this character. Oh my goodness. This is gonna suck. I was just about to say, it's nice to have like a simple character to do. Like as far as her outfit and stuff goes, it's like, yeah, not too bad. And then I'm like, oh my goodness, she's wearing fur. This is gonna suck. Alright. I can do this. I just have to believe in myself. Which does absolutely nothing for you, but you know. At least it's something nice to believe in for a little bit as the stupid furry cape and everything closes in around me and threatens to eat up all of my time on this. It's okay. It's over here. It'll be fine. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Don't psych yourself out. Alright. So I want to make sure all of this looks natural and powerful. So let me get my reference up that I'm supposed to have already up, but I forgot. Of muscular women in a similar stretching pose. I had one somewhere, except now I can't find it, so that's annoying. So I guess I'll just find like a UFC fighter or something. Suppose that'll do. Alright then. So the pose she's in is very extreme as far as like all of our muscles are gonna be like straining against each other and over each other, and we'll all be in different positions than they would be in a resting position. So I'm gonna try my best to do justice to all of that, but at the same time it's kind of difficult to look up this exact pose. So hold on. Woman holding sword above head. Well, I need to see like pretty much exactly this. I was supposed to have this reference already up and I didn't do that. Oh, that's pretty close. This might have been the one that I had. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Alright. Well, that's handy for the arms, at least. So I've got a rough idea of how the arms work here as far as muscles are concerned, but I feel like this reference I've got is a lot more helpful in showing like the specific muscles that are wrapping around. The hair's gonna get in the way, but that's okay. I'll just draw that on a separate layer. So, especially because this is a barbarian character, I really want to show the strength and power of this character, so I have to really focus in on these, you know, aspects of anatomy. Whereas, like, some of the characters, like, I can get away with not having 100%, you know, accurate muscles, or maybe not 100% accurate posing. Well, with this, because this character is physically strong and also like very, very, like that's a large aspect of her character, you really want to focus in on that and make sure that like that's well represented. You also want to make sure that like you kind of understand how all of these muscles are connected, so that when you pose, you don't just kind of throw it together. Which I will say, I didn't, you know, like I spent time trying to figure out this pose beforehand and make sure that like it was at least like feasible. And it is, it just kind of hurts if you hold it for a really long time in front of a camera trying to figure out if it works or not. But yeah. The other thing is like if you can find reference, oh my goodness, like use that. It's not cheating at all, and if anybody tells you that it is, then they have a problem that they need to work on and you don't, because like there's no good reason to duck learning from reference. I mean, obviously you don't want to trace, obviously you don't want to, you know, shortcut yourself as far as that goes, but I have yet to find a good reason to not, you know, look up your reference and figure out exactly how muscles work, or exactly how, you know, the body lies when it is in certain positions, because otherwise it's just like you're just guessing, and that's no good. That's not how an artist should think. An artist studies and figures out how these things, you know, function and work, because they want to, you know, get better, and they want to do better for their craft. Alright. Now, does this lovely person have... Oh! Here we go. They've got both arms up. It's perfect. I'd show you this, but I don't really know who this is, or if they're... Yeah, no, they want you to pay for this photo, so I'm not gonna do that. I wouldn't show them the photo, or I wouldn't feel comfortable showing the photo since I haven't really paid for it. I'm just using it. Wouldn't want to distribute it in some way without fully paying and fully giving credit and all that, and I'd rather not fuss with all that. Not that I wouldn't pay for my references, but I'd rather not try to fuss with that, nor what I can show on you. Like, the reference I have is clothed, but you're gonna have to take my word on that, because I don't know what YouTube considers good, right, and proper anymore. Which, I mean, I can't really say that what YouTube thinks is considered, you know, moral or otherwise. It's always been like so funny to me how much gets away from their algorithm, but like, oh, this guy cursed in like the first 10 minutes of his video. It's like, obviously, like, I don't curse personally, as a standard, not just in YouTube, but just in life. But I think it's kind of funny that YouTube's trying to be like the safeguard to all moral matters, rather than trying to just be a platform like what it is. Because like in the end of the day, you know, people are gonna do what they're gonna do. So I don't know. On one hand, it's like I can see that where they're coming from with like, oh, you know, we want to make sure kids don't just access this, but they're gonna do it anyway. Like this, there's so many ways that they could get through all this stuff that you try to hamper them. Especially like if you try to hamper it, they're just gonna find it faster. New ways to get around. So I don't know. But on the other hand, like yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's Google's job though to parent children and to filter what they see and what they don't see. I think that's a parent's job. Sorry, parents, but can't let the internet raise your kids. In fact, please don't. They're already annoying enough as is. We don't need them to get any worse by choking on the slop that is internet culture. So I'm kind of going around here and I'm just like, I want to get the musculature on this side right, and then I'll probably either put it over here and then change a few things. Well, I don't know. I haven't decided if I want to really mirror it, because it's not exact. Because like, well, no, because the only thing that changes there if you do this is like the position of your hands, and that's, I feel like, more in the wrists than the arms. So I guess like that would be fine if I mirrored it. But I want to get this right, and then I'll draw stuff over top of it, and then I'll erase underneath of it. So I guess I should stop drawing like right here, even though like this is actually looking pretty decent as far as shadows and stuff goes. I might change some of the shadows, it depends. That is something that I have to consider. Alright, now the matter of the hand. This is gonna be fun. Do I have a tube or a hilt of something? Because I don't want to have to go grab my sword, because it'll be kind of hard to balance it while I'm drawing. There's got to be something around here. Might have to get my sword. Hold on. That's the wrong shape. Fine. It's the wrong shape. I don't think it's gonna work, but whatever. Alright, so let's do it like this. So then the hand is up like this, and then like so. I guess I gotta hold it like this the whole time. It's not gonna get annoying or heavy or anything. I understand, like, I already have like pencils for this, and I could just follow those, but I just want to like double check them. And then also I want to make sure that like it makes sense for what I want. Okay, go back to that. Alright, cool. I have no idea how this looks on camera. I'm sure it's great. I need this to travel up a little bit for me. Thank you. Alright. Kind of like that. And then this finger is wrapping around a little bit differently. Like so. This is kind of where I wish I had like a more European sword to work with, but I have not found one, nor have I really been looking for one. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd like to get one, but I don't know if I would pay for one at this point in time in my life. Other one, which is a left hand, needs to come in similarly, but I feel like it's just gonna be like the same pose but reversed. So let's just kind of do this if I can, and pretend the thumb isn't there. Because it's just the same, so it would be the same but reversed. Oh, that's gonna be fun. This is why I need a left hand for drawing reference. Alright, so about like that. But if it's like a little bit higher, so then it's about that perspective. Yeah, the angle's a little bit different. That's all I'm gonna get for that. Thank you, sword. I should name you. Oh no! I lost a fingernail. The fingernails come off of this. Alright, I should put you here. And then look at my terrible handiwork. Haha, I get it. You love it. What's going on here? Why am I not? Why am I erasing? There's no reason to be erasing. What's happening here? Oh. I see, I must have selected that while I was working. It's fine. That's one of those moments where you're working and you just hope nobody walks in and sees you just like awkwardly holding a sword in a hand. Like sometimes you just have to embrace it and just be like, yeah, what? Can I help you? Other times it's just like, there's nothing you can really say or do to convince them that you're not absolutely losing your marbles. Do some more shading on these hands so that they look good or better than what I've done to them. Looks so gnarly right now. Like, not in a good way. I feel like every time I get to like the hands drawing section, like if I'm not talking about something already, I'm just like, I just zero in and I can't talk because I'm so worried about getting it right. Like, it does take some time to get comfortable with hands, but even when you're like, you know, at the point where you've drawn like a million hands and now you feel like you can envision how they work without having to pull up exact reference every single time, you're still gonna have those moments where you're not sure, and that is totally fine because that's gonna happen with everything. That's why it's good to review. That's why it's good to have reference on hand. That's why it's good to never ditch that habit of studying and ditch, you know, your references. That's why I keep, you know, models and images around to help me work on different things and different aspects of my art, especially when it comes to like anatomy and posing, to help get the just so I can look at it and be, you know, happy with it, and not be like, you know, oh, I didn't get this or I didn't get that. It's like, yeah, like, you know, I'll be able to see how it's supposed to look even if I can't remember it, and that's perfectly fine. Alright. I think I should be seeing more fingers. 'Cause, yeah. So, what I'm going to do is I'm either going to make these two fingers the end of the fingers, in which case this one would go back. I guess that's what I'm going to do. And then have like these other two become, yeah. Like so. It's not totally gnarly and jacked. Be fine. It's a barbarian. She's supposed to be jacked. Bit of humor there. Sorry. Obviously, this is a serious channel. We don't joke about at all. Alright. Let's go ahead and let's take like up to here. And let's copy it over here, but I'm going to try to edit some of it so that it makes sense anatomically. And maybe even warp some of it so that it's not fully symmetrical. so it's easier to see. And then the sword, honestly, I need to scoot that over a little bit. Like just a little bit of... Whoop. Alright. Cool. One, two, three. Missing a finger. Great. Okay, that looks a lot better. Already I like that better. Turn off the blue. Noticing some inconsistencies. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna darken this side a little bit more than the other. Just to make a point. And then I'm going to change the shading on this just by beefing up the shadows a bit more to show that it's further back. How's it look with the wings? Pretty sick. Alright. So, I am now going to... let's do the sword, and then I think I am going to have to retire for the evening. Because it is late, and I am not a spring chicken. Meaning I'm lazy as crap, and I don't want to be awake. I do hope I can get this done by tomorrow, though. That would be great, because I have been spending far too much time on this drawing. Although, I gotta say, this is like the one thing, while I am kind of working through some burnout right now, this is like the one project that's been like, still I've been vibing with. So I'm just kind of letting myself work on it as much as I can in a day without trying to like force it. So that, you know, hopefully I will continue to enjoy it throughout the whole process, and then when I finally get to like the parts that I don't like, when I gotta do all the editing and stuff like that, then I can, you know, remember the good times, or at least like hopefully like I won't be like already burned out at that point. I'll be like still enjoying the process, and then edit for a few hours and then hate the drawing. That's usually how it goes. Start off, really like the drawing, really like the concept, sketch it, get super into it, super excited, start working on it, and then either I will continue to like the project all the way up until the end where usually like some of that fades, or I'll continue to like it even further on the rare occasions and then wind up hating it once I get to the editing, and then I don't want to look at it ever again, and I usually don't. That's why my portfolio is usually not like as up to date as it should be, because it is usually me avoiding. I shouldn't have merged all those, but it's okay. It's me usually avoiding like revisiting stuff that I don't want to look at. Although, like, recently it's been, like, more pleasantly surprising to realize that, like, sometimes I actually like my work. It doesn't happen a lot, but sometimes it's just like, oh, wait, this isn't as bad as I thought it was. Or, like, I drew this? I don't even remember this. This looks great. Like, when that happens, I'm just like, I'm so excited because I'm like, oh, finally. The curse is beginning to lift. I can actually like stuff now. Six-year-old me would have loved this sword. Like, I love it, but like I think 6-year-old me would just like absolutely go ham looking at this and just being like, how can I build that? Because that was the thing, I would always build the swords. I think I know I've already said that was something I would do. Yeah, I loved and still love looking at swords and seeing how they're made and thinking how they're used and all the, you know, intricacies of them, and maybe not even like the realistic aspects of it, but like even just like the aesthetics of it, which I feel like is like gonna hurt some sword nut's soul, but you know, whatever. I can't please everybody, and I'm not gonna try. Man, I love me a good sword. Makes me so happy. I love it. Do some quick shading here. Make sure it makes sense. That's what my boss is telling me all the time. Make it make sense. It's pretty much my job. I make stuff make sense. So there we go. That looks pretty sweet. And then the wings coming in. Oh yeah, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be a fun drawing. And I've already got the hardest part out of the way. Now I just gotta, well, no, not the hardest part. I still have fur to draw. So, I think I'm gonna call that for right now, but look forward to this as we keep going. Why do I keep ending the video? I don't need to end the video. It's literally just gonna be like a, and then on to the next bit. Whatever. You get the idea. Hi there. Would you like to know something that's unnervingly irritating? The next 2 hours of footage don't have any footage of my screen. Now, I did this whole drawing digitally because I thought, hey, recording on my computer through OBS would be so simple. There'd be a lot less to set up. Unless when you set up one camera, you shut off the other camera and forget to turn that camera back on for 2 hours of footage. So, what you're seeing right now behind me or around me is the footage of me coloring Yasha, basically as a compensation for the footage that does not exist of me inking Yasha. I want to go ahead and apologize to all you Yasha fans out there, because I had a really good time drawing this. I had a really fun time, you know, explaining what I was doing too. So the good news is this video is ending a little bit earlier. There's only like 5 minutes of this to go through because I put it in time lapse because I didn't want to keep you here over a vast period of time where I'm not talking about what I'm doing. But yeah, I did tack at the end the ending that I had for this video that was actually the next part, but isn't, but is now, but whatever. Anyway, so I'm sorry about that. This is this in the next part you'll see has had some bunch of random unmitigated disasters as far as the quality goes, except for with the art. The art looks great. It's just the recording process, it looks like absolute crap. So anyway, again, I'm sorry, and I hope you enjoy this. Yeah, there's a part of me that wanted to put the audio in from this drawing, but all it would be is the audio for the first half of Die Hard, and there's a part of me that really wanted to just put in the Die Hard movie audio in there because that's what I was watching while I was working. Anyway, hope you have a good one. It gets better. So I actually just realized that, no, this is the end of this video. I'm actually going to do Caleb and Bo in the next video, the next part, because if I kept doing it, this video would be too long. So thank you for watching. Sorry for all the mishaps, flubs, and cuts that I had to make because I'm a idiot. But anyway, I hope you liked this video. I hope that you continue watching on our journey through the characters and cast of the Mighty Nine. Until then, go make something awesome and have a great day.